Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right. Yeah, the Vols have plans for the goalpost for the Ohio State-Tennessee game coming up next week. Oh, crap. You got to be kidding me. Also, we're going to talk about the Lenoris Sellers rumors out of South Carolina portal and all that. We're going to talk about that a little bit. I think I understand what's happening. And also FSU, they think they've got their quarterback. Maybe they have. We're going to talk about that too. They need one bad. All right, now FSU, as you know, they had a perfect season 2 years ago. They went 13. Well, they were 12-0 in the regular season. And this year, they went 2-10. Now, had you told the FSU fans after having a perfect record in the regular season that the next year they were going to go 2-10, I think they would have had this reaction.
It's not true. That's impossible.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
No!
Yeah, that's not possible. And I would agree with him. You can't go from 12-0 to 2-10. I don't know that I've ever seen that in the history of college football. I'm sure it's happened, but you don't ever see a big-time school like FSU have that occur. A big part of it was quarterback play. Now, we saw them struggle when they lost their quarterback 2 years ago, and they brought in DJU. We'll just call him DJU. And I was against that move. I did not think he'd be a good fit for Florida State. I know he was a former five-star, but I saw him struggle at Clemson, and so did FSU, and so did Norvell. So didn't make any sense to me. Well, anyway, that kind of blew up, and then they realized their backup quarterbacks really couldn't do what they needed them to do either. So they struggled, and they struggled mightily. Well, they've brought in another quarterback. Now, I can see the glass being half full on this guy because he's very much a running quarterback, and that's Thomas Castellanos. Now, this guy he's got a motor. He can really run, but he's 5'9", so he's not tall at all. He's about 200 pounds, and his numbers, here's the thing about his numbers. Before Bill O'Brien showed up, he was running the ball beautifully. I mean, he was really a destructive force to deal with, but he wasn't throwing the ball that well. Well, then Bill O'Brien came in with his pro-style offense. He's not a good fit for that, so they were trying to sort of put a square peg in a round hole, and he struggled. He improved as a quarterback, but he didn't run the ball very much. And when you look at these numbers, you'll understand what I'm talking about. In 2023, he threw for under 60%, 2,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 14 INTs, which that's, the INTs is way too high. But look down here. He ran the ball 215 times for over 1,000 yards, 5-yard average, 13 touchdowns. So when you add those together, he had 28 touchdowns and 14 interceptions, which is much more acceptable. And a guy that can run like that is very dangerous. Well, O'Brien showed up, and you can see that he improved in one spot. And he had 18 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. But look at his rushing. 194 yards, only 1 touchdown. So he lost 12 there. So, like I said, I just don't think he was a good fit. He did wind up getting benched after getting injured, and he immediately entered the transfer portal. He was ticked off. I think he and O'Brien kind of had it out, if I had to guess. And he probably said, well, you're not a good fit for this offense. And Thomas agreed with him. And I think he parted ways and probably had a few choice words for O'Brien, if I had to guess. Just knowing how athletes are, especially quarterbacks who are A-type personalities and have a lot of self-confidence. That's a nice way of putting it anyway. So here are the positives of bringing in a running quarterback. Your offensive line is a problem. So he's going to help with that tremendously. Number one, they're not going to be able to pin their ears back on third down with him. If they do, they'll rush right by him. He'll go right into the hole they left and take off for 15 yards. And he's quick as a cat. So don't think you're going to be able to just, do what you did with DJ and just go full out after a sack, because he'll make you pay for that. The other thing that it's going to do is he can scramble, and the offensive linemen are going to appreciate the heck out of that. So even if somebody gets by him or, defeats him on the line, that doesn't mean you're going to get a sack. I mean, this dude, I'm telling you, it takes 2 to bring him down. So there is that as well. Now, the negative is he's only 5'9", so he's not going to be able to see over the line very well, and he's throwing for, around 60%. is not good enough as far as completion rate. You need to be around 65. And that's really there, 65 to 70 is where you need to be a good college quarterback, unless you're a tremendous runner. So I think the glass is kind of half full here. Now here's TJ from Double Fries, and we'll let you hear what he thinks.
Castellanos, just real quick thoughts. So I'll just be honest with you. I don't think that this is a I think there's a lot of question marks, and this could go really, really well. It could. I'm not breaking any ground by saying this. I'm not telling you, like, oh, wow, great analysis. It's just so wide open to me. It could go well. To me, with Castellanos as your quarterback, if you improve the offensive line and if you improve the front seven defensively, you can go, like, your ceiling's around 8-4. Like, that's kind of what it says to me. I don't know that I could say that this is a 9-10 win team, though I think the schedule gets a little bit easier. I know Bama's week 1. I think you're probably looking at a ceiling of 8-4. The absolute disaster scenario for me with Castellanos is probably 4-8. Just the schedule should be a little easier with some of your opponents. And then obviously you could be anywhere between that. You could win 5, 6, 7 games. So Castellanos probably raises the floor of quarterback play a little bit based on what you want to do. But to me, it's really going to come down to what happens along the front, along the offensive line, who you're able to get in, who you're able to get to transfer, who in that room is serviceable. So the Castellanos thing to me is not, I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm not sold on. I like some aspects of Gus as an offensive coordinator. I'm not sold on Gus as an offensive coordinator. I said earlier, like, I'm not going to come on here and hype. I've done that for 3 years, right? Hype every transfer and hype every coach that we get and think that everything's going to be great. And for the people that are like, oh, you shouldn't be negative. I'm really not being negative. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. How can you predict it?
Yeah, so he's hot and cold on it. And I think after last year, he's being a little bit cautious. And Gus Malzahn, he's a good offensive coordinator, and you have to have a running quarterback in his offense. It's all run-pass option. It's all dependent on the quarterback being able to burn you. So this quarterback actually fits pretty good in his offense. And the other thing that TJ's talking about there, in the 2 years against FSU, Thomas wore you out. I mean, he burned you for a lot of yards. So seeing that up close like Norvell did, that probably made it pretty easy for him to go, yeah, I can see getting this quarterback. So there's a lot of risk there. You're coming off 2-10. The one thing that Norvell's got going for him is a huge contract and guaranteed money. That's why, he would have been fired. Any other coach would have been fired after 2-10. They're gone. But with Mike's buyout situation, FSU and the ACC, the lawsuit, all these things going on, they can't afford to fire him. So he can be a little bit, careful with who he brings in. And so I think this does raise the floor to where, you should at least go to a bowl game, I would think. All right, so that's FSU today. Now I need to talk about my Vols. They have, some of the fans have gone off the deep end a little bit here. They're already planning what they're going to do with the goalpost after we beat Ohio State in their own stadium. Now, I've heard of flag planting, and we know that's already a felony or going to be a felony in Ohio after their lawmaker is working on it. What are you going to do if they take down the goalpost? That'll be, oh my gosh, are we going to get put on the Green Mile? I mean, you got to be kidding me. You can't take their goalpost. This is insane. Talking about getting over your skis. So anyway, I know you're thinking I'm making this up. I'm not. This is in multiple websites. This is A to Z Sports with Zach Reagan. Said Tennessee Vols fans see their plans for the goalpost at the Horseshoe, and that those plans have gone viral. And you can see right here, this is online on Twitter. Here's Ohio Stadium. Here is the direction they're going to take the goalpost, supposedly. I don't know what road this is, but they're going to go over here towards Olentangy Trail, and it looks like they're going to dump it off of this road into the Olentangy River. Oh, my gosh. Now, Tennessee is known for taking down goalposts and throwing them in the river, but that's at Neyland Stadium. They've never done it on the road that I'm aware of, nor have I ever heard of anybody doing that on the road. So if they did something like this, I don't know what would happen. I really don't. I think this is more for fun than anything, but you got to love it. And I'm sure the folks up in Columbus are sitting here going, these people have lost their minds. Let me tell you something. If we do win that ball game, there would be enough fans up there probably to do just that, but I don't think they're crazy enough to do that.
You sure about that?
So anyway, I thought I would share this because it's just being a Vols fan, you can't assume things aren't going to happen, because we've seen this crazy stuff go on with the Vols many times. I mean, they get a little bit nuts, and they're talking about possibly buying as many as 35% of the tickets up there. And, you know, we're not mad at our coach, not in the slightest. We really like Josh Heupel.
Damn it, Bobby, this just ain't right. You're a good son. You deserve better than this.
We're not going around saying fire, you know, Josh Heupel like they are Ryan Day. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Tennessee needs to get off to a good start, and maybe they can, you know, take advantage of that situation. But I just got a feeling that the Ohio State fans are going to show up in droves, and I don't think they're going to get all negative. So anyway, I thought y'all would enjoy that story, because it's just telling you, I know you people up in Ohio are like, how can these people be this crazy? This is not crazy at all for us. This is kind of run-of-the-mill stuff. We're nuts down here. I'm telling you, we love our football. You just don't know. You think you love football. Now we got to talk about Lenoris Sellers. Man, have I taken grief over the whole portal news and all that kind of stuff? All kinds of rumors about him possibly entering the portal, and we've seen it all over websites. Like WLTX says, will someone drop a bag on Lenoris Sellers? 3 potential landing spots for South Carolina's QB. Transfers to SEC foe, places like that. Projects, you know, top 3 places, top 5 places, etc. Transfer destinations for somebody that outbids South Carolina, etc. Well, here's the thing. I've been thinking a lot about this, and I think I know where those rumors came from, and I think I understand why they have shown up. Now, first, some good news. Dylan Stewart, who is your edge rusher freshman, who is a phenom, had 6.5 sacks, but look, you've got to know exactly where that dude is at all times. He's going to be phenomenal. He's going to be a James Pierce type guy. Anyway, he's signed an NIL deal. That's all over the news, and it's in excess of
$1 million.
That's right, $1 million plus. I've heard it's as much as 1.5, somewhere between 1 and 1.5. So that's good news for you. That means they're obviously ponying up and they found their checkbook. Now, Lenoris Sellers is obviously going to get more money than that. I'm thinking he's going to be at least $2 million. Now, you've got to use a little bit of deductive reasoning as to who would have started this rumor, where did all this come from? It didn't come from just nowhere. Now, let's think this through. Who would benefit the most by these rumors getting out there? Would it be other SEC teams? No, not really. Those rumors don't help them. What it actually does is it puts a little birdie in their ear. Hey, you better get some money together. You might be able to get this guy. And South Carolina has a history of letting great players walk away over money. We've seen it. I've given you a list of 3 different guys that were all SEC. So who would put this rumor out there? Well, it certainly wasn't me. I picked it up from reading it on websites. I saw it on multiple stories. So it wasn't Sports Talk Jay. So who would it be? Well, let's see. Let's say you're an agent or you're part of Lenoris's people. If you put this rumor out,
allegedly,
who's it going to help? Well, it's going to help Lenoris, because what do you want? You want the max dollar. That's what an athlete wants. And Lenoris, look, you can tell he's a good dude. 4.0 student. He's humble. He's not going around being all braggadocious. He's just a good dude. That's pretty obvious. He could be very special. So he should get his top dollar. Well, let's say some of his people put this rumor out there. Maybe it's an agent. Maybe it's, somebody that's close to him. Oh, he might go into the portal. Next thing you know, stories are out there. South Carolina's in a panic. NIL, they're over there, the Scarlet and Garnet or whatever it is. They're over there collecting all their money as quick as they can to get it to him. And all these other teams are hearing that going, gosh, maybe if we make a couple of offers, maybe we could get him. So they're making offers probably. And then South Carolina's over here going, no, look, when I tell you they can't afford to lose this guy, if they lost Lenoris Sellers, I'm telling you, I don't think the fan base could take it. I think they would lose their gourd. I really do. I don't think they could handle it. And rightfully so. This guy's an exciting player. They went 9-3 last year. They had a legitimate chance of going in the playoff. And honestly, they were the one team nobody wanted any part of, especially with that defense. Where else would you think this rumor had started? Again, deductive reasoning. Who does it help the most? So I think it came from somebody around him, if I had to guess.
That is my opinion.
And it's based on what I just told you. Sometimes you got to think about follow the money And who does it help the most? So don't get mad at me, South Carolina, and especially you, Jackpot. Calm down over there. You're going to be okay. Besides, I think I did you a huge favor because you found out very quickly, hey, the rumors are out there. Multiple YouTubers at South Carolina didn't even know. So now you know, you're getting your money together. You're going to keep him and Stewart. Everything's golden for you. So
You're welcome.
anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit this little button right here. Won't cost you a dime. And right over here's the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.